All right, so here it is several hours later, and I suspect that the glue has dried underneath the numbers. So I'm just going to go ahead, so I've got a few minutes here. I'm having problems with my glue. Where's my special glue unsticker? There we go. Just put something down through the middle of it. There we go. And get some of that white glue out. There we go. Don't need much. But in this case, we're going to cover over the numbers. All right? So we want a little bit more than we had before. I'm just going to kind of put it over the top just like that. Because what we're going to do, what this is going to do is it dries, right? It's going to create a gloss. It's going to make it look like, oop, didn't have that in view there. It's going to make it look like glass on the side of that, which it is, right? They would have glass over the numbers. Get that in view so you can see what I'm doing. Just spread it over the top, nice and even. And so when that dries on there, that'll look like glass. Trust me. Maybe a little bit too much there. Just take some of that off. Doesn't matter too much. You'll see when it dries just like it's a piece of glass. Alrighty then. Mañana. We'll take another look at this tomorrow. Alrighty then, you betcha. Now, it's time to put the speaker in. And on this particular situation, all the F units, the E units, all the rest of them, the best place to put it is actually in the curved part. And using a 1-inch speaker fits nice in there. This one happens to be the Soundtrack's 21053. Don't confuse that with the other unit, which is not 2 watts. So 2 watts is important here if you're using the new Tsunami 2. So we're going to use this speaker. And then they quit selling these. I'm not quite sure. I mean, plastic is not their thing, but these were really convenient. The baffle kit, now they had them for the PA series. This is not a PA, this is an E unit, LifeLike E unit. But the LL unit, this is probably the last one of these that I have. I actually keep one or two in my little box here, just so that I have a template so that I can make my own. So I use these as a template in making my own for this particular device because it works so well. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and show you how that works, so hold on. So just showing you the pieces here as they come out. There's a piece like this that doesn't have holes in it that I put now up against the edge. This will also be the ledge, and then this sits on top of those two with the speaker in it, like this. This is a double-sided sticky tape with that edge on it, and so you peel off the edges on it and stick it on. It's okay. It's not perfect. And so I use this, which is adhesive sealant, clear RTV silicone. Permatex makes this stuff. You can get it at most auto parts stores. That's where I get mine. I don't stock it just because I'd have to buy tons of it in order to get a good price for you. So I usually tell people to get it. I use this. I'm sure there's other products that you could use, but this is what I use. So we're going to use this as our glue because it's non-permanent. In other words, you can take it off if you make a mistake. And also it is, when it hardens as rubber. RTV means means room temperature vulcanizing. So it is a rubberized type product. So we're going to use toothpicks and keep our toothpicks clean so that we're not smearing this all over everything. And one of the downsides of this is it does, if you don't use it all the time, it does harden in the tube. So you oftentimes have to get the hard stuff off. So I'll do that and get it ready, and then come back. Alrighty then, so now let's just go ahead and put a little bit, so you can see it comes out really smooth when it's ready. Let's take that one out. Come on out of there. I may not have to glue it. It may not come out. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, a little bit of this sealant on it, and use that to push it up against the top. And you want to get it in straight. Did you see that? I broke the handrail off. Okay. Well, what did I expect? It has glue on it. And of course I got to use the tweezers that I used to get the glue out of the container. All right, so that looks good. That looks like it's where it's supposed to be. Push it in there tight. Now, one of the differences between an EMD unit and a PA unit is probably the curvature of the top, but because we're going to seal this with a sealant as we put it in there, after we put it in there, we shouldn't worry too much about that. Now let's do the other part. Let's do it a little bit differently. Let's first of all get the speaker in there, and again I'm going to take this apart and show you how it comes apart. I'm going to seal it after I get done with this. Alrighty then, you betcha. Yeah, it's really hard because it's just got a white coating on it, and then it's like, which side is the sticky side? Well, the side that looks a little bit glossy, and this actually has something on it that says front, right? Actually says, I don't know if you can see that, it says front on it. Now, is that front or front? Well, we're gonna think that that's front this way. Okay, we're gonna use it that way. And then it shows the ring here as where this is going to sit. So we're going to put that down. All right, move this out so you can see what we're doing. And we're just going to lay that in top right there where the ring is. Okay, and push down on it to seal it. Again, this is just double-sided sticky tape. It's just conveniently done in a circle. And then we're going to try with to pull the, look, we're successful. Do you see the gloss? I don't know if you can see that. See that glossiness, and that's the double-sided sticky tape. So the two white pieces are the discard, right? And now this says front, Well, front would be this way. So we want the wires going towards the front, so we're going to actually put this right here just like this. Okay. All right. Pushing down around the edges like that. All right. It should look like that, all right, when you're done. Now, I'm sorry, I don't trust the double-sided sticky tape. I've seen too many installations where people have either didn't know what they were doing or whatever, but the tape came loose and now you got a real mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sealant. I'm going to go around the speaker right here. All right. Go all the way around the speaker, and I'm going to seal that. But because this is, and by the way, you can buy lots of different kinds of this gooey stuff. You want the kind that says adhesive, okay? Because that's what we're using it for right here also. Besides being a sealant, we want to make sure that it sticks, all right? In every place that I use this, whether it's for wiring or for sound, I want it to be a sealant adhesive. I want it to adhere. Okay? So I'm just going to pull this around here. Again, doesn't need a lot, right? So don't go overboard with this. It should already work without this. Soundtrax has used this, and I've used it for years. The first few installations I didn't seal it. And then after I saw some other people who tried to do that and then were unsuccessful, I said, you know what? I'm going to seal this just to make sure that it stays sealed. A little bit on the back of it won't hurt it. Doesn't hurt the mechanism. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of wires on this, right? And we have holes. Holes were provided in this other piece. So we're going to use those holes. They're a little bit big, right, for the wires that we're going to put in there. So we're going to use what color? Well, violet. Yeah, purple. I just happen to have, because I use so much of it, I just happen to have a roll of it. This is 30 gauge, 32 gauge, and we stock this. You can get it from Train Control Systems, or can't remember the other company. I think it's Bush. But Train Control Systems certainly has this, and we have it in our stock too. So we're going to use this purple wire, and we're going to give ourselves enough. This is going to be back here. The decoder has got two violet wires. Let's bring that in so you can see what's going on there. Don't lose that. Bring this in here so you can see what's going on. So this decoder has two violet wires, right? And they would go like this up to where this is, and we can do that. And now that I think of it, I'm going to do that. If you're going to take the shell on and off a lot, if you're going to do some other things, then maybe you don't want to solder this directly. Maybe you would like to put a connector in here. Certainly can do that. In my particular case, I'm not going to do that because I know exactly what I'm doing, and we're going to only have to put this shell on once, he says. So let's take now these wires, these two wires, right? And let's put them through. Now let's think about how this goes. Now this is going to go up on top like this, okay? And go up on top like that. So these are going to go out here, right, and back through this way. Okay. 1 and 2. Come on. And 2 like that. Then all of this is going to connect to the speaker, and the speaker is going to mount like this, okay? And this part is going to be mounted on top of this going that way, all right? Trust me. So let me put these two on here. We're just going to solder those to that, and then we'll put it up there. Let's see. I want this one to go to there. And I know I've mentioned this before, but I'll mention it again. When you're soldering to a speaker, you want to be real careful. There's 2 reasons that you need to be careful. One is that the soldering iron is and can be magnetic. The speaker certainly is magnetic, and so one of the ways to keep it from picking up is to put something heavy on it. Right? So I'm gonna use something else that's gonna grab it like that. Right? And now we're gonna take this speaker wire. We're going to tin this pad, and they put special pads on there away from the pads for the magnet. You want to make sure that you tin those. Those are the ones that you want to connect to. Don't connect to the other ones that already have solder on it. That's on purpose. They don't want you to disconnect the wires from the speaker. They're really tiny wires that go into the coil of the speaker, and they don't want you to do that. And of course you don't want to do it either if you can help it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put a little bit of solder on the speaker wire. Hopefully you can see all that, right? And now this is going to go this direction, right? So let's see if we can do that. That's kind of backwards for me. All right, and that one's in tight. Let's get the other one. Now this is awkward for me. Ordinarily I wouldn't do it this way, but because I'm taping it, I would have turned the whole machine around to handle this. Make sure you don't have a cold solder joint. Make sure your solder doesn't wick over to the edges, to the shell here, because you could end up with a short. Then you'll blow up your amplifier. Not a good thing. Okay. Don't want to blow up your amplifier. You can easily do that by just shorting the 2 speaker wires. Okay. All right. Now looks good. Looks good. We're going to take this part, this plastic part now, and we're going to mount that right there at on the end. And we're going to do that again with the cement. RTV cement. And we're going to put an edge of goo. Come on. edge of goo right there, right along that whole edge. We want this to seal up tight, so make sure that you do the full edge. All right, and we're gonna put that down. Come on, I know you can do it. Where's my tiny fingers? There they are. And we want this to be at a 90-degree angle. All right. Now kind of don't touch it, just let it sit. All right. So we're going to let that sit for a good half an hour at least, right, till this sets. Instructions say need clamping for an hour, so we're going to let it sit for an hour before we come back to it. Alrighty then. Alrighty then, we're back again with the Seaboard Coastline 573E unit, and I wanted to show you a locomotive that I had done, and I'm trying to recreate this now. The lighting, so we're on lighting at this point. The lighting that I had done on a Southern, same era, same everything. And if you notice here, I've got two what look like orange. They're actually a real bright yellow LEDs for the side marker or the number boards. I've got a yellow. Some of them call them golden glow for the bottom, and a sunny white for the top. This was typical. These bottom lights or headlights came from the factory, as I'm told, initially from EMD, and so many railroads kind of left them in, but then they added the Mars or the gyro lights up on top. Those were all added, and again they were a brighter light. So we're using both of all four of these lights are bright and would be considered a bright white or a bright yellow white. This is more yellowish, but very bright, and whitish or bluish, and very bright. And this one will oscillate or gyrolight. This one will not, and these two will not. So again, hooking all of those up, it's a cluster. It's hard to see here. I'm not going to take this off. I'll make it and then show you before I put the top on here. But that's where I'm going, just to give you an overview of where we are. And I'm going to start soldering those up and maybe show you that in a fast form is my intent. All right, so let's get after it. All right, so I've kind of decided which is which. The sides are a yellowish color. The bottom one is a 3mm. Top is a 5mm. Although the other one I had a 3mm. It doesn't matter. It's it's actually the color that's important and the brightness. These. The way I specify my item number here has to do with the size. So the T3, T6 is a 5mm, T3 is a 3mm, and then this kind of gives you some idea of the brightness of it. M1 is 1,000 millicandles, which is fairly bright. And sometimes I do, sometimes I didn't. This is an older one. That's a 3mm, 5mm. Anyways, so I've taken this part here, and I'm trying to figure out how all of this works together. This is the will be the Mars light or gyro light. Interesting, two different companies, right? Gyro light's kind of a, in my understanding, was a generic term. Mars light was very specific to that company, and one does one of these things and the other one does a sweep and whatever. And you can get picky about that. It was my understanding that Seaboard and Seaboard Coastline, and eventually becoming Seaboard Coastline, they did a gyro light. Actually, it even says in the cab, it said gyro light. Now, I'm recalling this. I'm not looking it up, but anyways, so you can kind of see this, and this piece goes in here like this. You may not get any of this audio. So I'm trying to do the mechanical part of this. Think about the electrical. Positive is the bus, so positive. On an LED, the positive lead is always the longer one of the two. Okay, so I gotta do that. Then we're gonna figure out how to do the other ones from that. We're gonna come up to the side. So alrighty, pretty close. You can see this now. This groove. Alrighty then, you betcha. It's the next day, and putting all these all together and in shrink tube, and don't know if I showed that, but taking that cluster now, and imagining it going into the light. I'm going to call it a light shroud. I guess we call it a light shroud, right? Like that.